What's going on, guys? Kyle here, and today I'm going to be covering all about if you should be looking into setting up your own real estate website versus going with one of the all-in-one kind of solutions provided by a lot of the main CRMs out there that do CRMs and websites. So over the course of this video, I'm going to be sharing pros and cons. I'm going to be sharing kind of what it takes to set up a website, and and kind of some of the pricing that you should expect going with either one of the different solutions. So if you don't know who I am already, my name is Kyle Handy. I'm a real estate agent out here in San Antonio, Texas, and I've been in the business for about 11 years now, and just really love real estate. I love giving back to real estate agents, and I've got a team of agents all across the country of over 200 agents that I help support and guide. And so creating videos has just naturally been something that I've enjoyed doing. So every Monday, as of right now, you're watching this, I do a live real estate training at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. And so that is what you're watching. Otherwise, you can go to my YouTube channel, just search Kyle Handy on YouTube, and I've got tons of past videos where I've done similar types of training all through different topics and things like that. So please consider, if you're watching this on YouTube, just hit that red subscribe button. And then also there's a notification bell that you can hit as well to get notified of whenever I go live or put a new video on there. If you're watching this on Facebook, chances are that you're doing so because you're already connected to me. You've followed my Facebook business page, also titled Kyle Handy. And so you can either continue watching it on there or start going over to the YouTube channel. Just a little insight, it does look a little better on YouTube. The stream is more high quality. But that being said, let's go ahead and just jump right into this. At the end, I will check and see if there's any questions that maybe some of you guys might have if you're considering doing one or the other options. And I'll go in kind of detail about those questions. So that being said, let me kick this off. I've got my notes here. So first of all, I think it kind of helps to explain and kind of talk about what, some of these acronyms are that you may have heard if you're already going down this path. You may have heard the terms IDX, you may be hearing CRM, and you just don't even know where to start. Well, first off, I'll kind of define a couple of these things. An IDX is pretty much the data feed that your MLS, where all of the listings are held at in your market, it's the data exchange between that MLS and your website. And so, there's a few different options as far as starting up your website. You can mostly, I would say most people go with WordPress. That's pretty much kind of the go-to that most websites are built on. There's other ones. You can look at Wix and things like that. But a lot of the plugins and themes that you're going to need to create a website, I see, are built on WordPress. You'll have a few more options if you go that route. But that being said, as far as going with an IDX feed, that's going to be what you need for your website to be able to get listings from the MLS and display them on your website. If you just go out there and start up a real estate website, you can do that. Now, you're going to just be putting posts on there and maybe some helpful information, but the IDX feed is what's going to help take that website and bring listings to clients. And so just depends if that's what you want to go for, which I imagine most of you do, then you would need to start looking into different IDX providers. And I'll kind of give you some of my tips and which ones I would look at if I was going after an IDX. And then next is a CRM, which is a customer relation management tool, which is basically the back end. It's what you as the agent will be in all of the time, kind of managing your leads and managing your clients. And ideally what you want is you want an IDX feed, and you want your website to be able to speak to be able to kind of correlate with the CRM system that you're using. And the reason being is if you've got clients on your website searching for properties, it would be nice if your CRM could give you the insight, which properties they're searching, how long, they've been on your website for, when was the last time that they logged into your site. All that type of information is very important and goes a long way with making sure that you're up to speed on what they're looking for. So that's kind of two of the things you're going to want to look at. Now, you may say, well, why don't I just go out and look at some of these CRMs that do both, right? Like you've got KV Core, you've got Firepoint, you've got Boomtown, you got Commissions Inc. You've got all these websites where you can go out and purchase or pay for a subscription, and it will do just what I've said. It's basically an all-in-one solution. You don't have to set it up. Nothing is required except for you just making the payment and then learning the platform. And that's definitely a viable option. In fact, that is what I do currently with the brokerage that I'm with. But some of you, because of pricing reasons, or maybe there's also some other SEO, which is another term that I probably need to explain, which stands for search engine optimization. There may be other reasons why you wouldn't want to go with a platform kind of a solution. And so, but either way, I'll get into kind of the pros and cons of both. I'll start kind of with the first one. The first big con of having your own website is it is more difficult to set up. You've got to learn how to do it. Now, it's not super hard. A lot of what you're going to do setting up your website is mostly like plug and play type of things. You just need to know kind of the order that you need to do these things in. And so, I'll kind of go over that order here in a little bit, but it's really not too hard. It's if you can, watch a couple YouTube videos, maybe one of these days I'll kind of put together a video series of how to do it, because I've done them in the past. I've probably made 4 or 5 different real estate websites. I've used different IDX plugins. And so I know how to do it. I just don't currently do it. But that being said, it was something that, it takes probably a full day to kind of, get it going, up and running. And then for the most part, if you're using a good IDX, if you got a great CRM that integrates well with it, then it's really kind of at that point, similar to like a platform. You won't really have to touch it very much, except for adding content to your website. So that is kind of the thing that I don't think it's talked about enough with real estate websites, and that's actually uploading and putting content out there beyond just the listings that the MLS will put onto that IDX feed. Because I mean, really, the IDX feed, no matter which one you go with, it's getting the same listing. So, all of the platform solutions, all of the people out there getting their own IDX feeds, they're all having the same listings. And so realistically, the odds of you ranking or having your website, go above in search rankings on Google is very low. I mean, it's pretty much impossible. The only way for you to stand out as an agent on the internet is when you create unique, helpful content for your clients, for buyers and sellers. You create a buying guide, you create a selling guide, you create a video that, explains the process. All those types of things are great, helpful things that you're going to want to put on your website that will help you and get your website ranked higher. So that's kind of first and foremost is content. And typically on platform solutions or on creating your own website, you should have the ability to do that and be able to add your own content. I know that I currently use KV Core. I can create my own blog and put that into KV Core. So that is definitely a possibility. That is what I would recommend you do for trying to get your website to get some organic growth behind it. So anyways, but not getting too far off the pros and cons kind of theme here. So first off, the con, it's difficult to set up. One of the pros is that you will get more customizability with your own website setup. You can do way more stuff when you've set up this website than you can typically do with a platform solution. And when I talk about customizability, I don't just talk about, the colors and the images and stuff like that. Typically, you can change that stuff on the platforms. But what I'm talking about is like adding pages and, putting in there different types of, webinar registrations and all these types of integrations that you may not be able to do if you're going with a platform versus if you build this thing on your own. You go out there, you get a WordPress site, you sign up for hosting, you get a WordPress site, you go pick a theme, a real estate theme, and then you get your plugin that will provide those listings to it. Well, you got complete customizability, anything and everything that WordPress is basically able to do, which is quite a bit in today's day and age. And so the customizability is also another big pro of creating your own website. And then lastly, I will point out that it is better for SEO value. When you sign up for a platform solution, typically a lot of those platform solutions are hosted on their own servers. Like for instance, I'm here at eXp Realty. I use KV Core. My website through KV Core is hosted at exprealty.kylehandy.com. Well, what that means for me is I've got my own website. I've got a website, kylehandy.com, right? But all of the SEO value that's being created through that IDX and through all my listings is not going to my kylehandy.com website. It's going to exprealty.com's website because that is kind of the main domain, so to speak, for that, right? So none of that SEO, none of the listings or anything like that is really going to provide me any SEO value. Versus if I went on kylehandy.com and used an IDX plugin, right, and put all of the websites on my website, well, now all of that SEO is going to come back to me. Now you may be thinking, well, I know KV Core can do a plugin where where you can put that on your actual main website. And you're correct, KV Core does have that ability, but I'll tell you where those listings are still being displayed or where they're being hosted are still on KV Core's server. So they're still going to get all of that SEO value, even though the plugin will make it look like on my website that I can see all the listings. That's still not coming back to me, just as an FYI. And I'll kind of tell you the difference. It's a little bit more technical. There's a certain type of IDX provider that uses what's called RETS, real estate. I couldn't even tell you RETS, what the acronym stands for there, but it's RETS, where basically what it does is it takes all of the listings that it's being provided by the IDX, it downloads them, uploads them back into your own server, into your own database on your WordPress hosting. And for that is truly where the SEO benefits become, because then each of those listings becomes almost like it's its own blog post on your website. So that is like the king, the mecca for getting, SEO value on your website. And if I was going to, go through and I wanted to really capture that, that is what I would do. And I'll show you a couple of the different providers that can do that for you. But just realize that it's not as simple as, if you sign up for KV Core, and then even if you use that kind of plugin, it's not going to give you that massive SEO value. Your website's still going to rank depending on if you do a lot of the content creation and you're adding extra value onto your website beyond just the IDX, but that's kind of it. So SEO value, I'd say, is a big one. The other thing too is like when you switch providers sometimes, if you're going to go with let's just say, Boomtown, and then you want to switch to FirePoint. Well, typically your website's going to make a massive change. So like even if you sign up for FirePoint, and they actually host everything on your own domain. So if I wanted to say FirePoint, put all my real estate website on kylehandy.com, yes, kylehandy.com will start to rank and get better through SEO because basically all of my listings and all of my traffic is going to that site. When I make a big change, like say one day I decide FirePoint's not right for me, I want to upgrade, I want to go to Boomtown or Commissions Inc. Well, it will impact your website's SEO as far as if you've built anything for years in the past. So that would be something to note. It's not a huge impact because again, your website will be structured differently, but realistically, you never had those actual blog posts on your website, so to speak, from the listings being kind of like their own blog posts. It was just an IDX, and you'll still have new traffic coming to the new website. So it's not going to change a whole lot, but just realize that may be something that affects it a little bit more than if you have your own website and you just choose to, use a different IDX plugin. It's probably not going to affect your website nearly as much. So those are just a couple of the pros and cons. Now I want to jump into, because I think a lot of this, probably this first 10 minutes is a little confusing without seeing what I'm talking about. So what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen and I want to jump into a little bit of what I've been talking about just so you can kind of see the differences and see really like what this stuff looks like in practice. So first off, let me share my screen here. There we go. All right. So I wanted to kind of, again, I told you I was going to give you the order of the ways that you would start your own website if that is what you were going to do. And so first off, what you would need to do is you need to get web hosting. You would need to go and get like, GoDaddy or, I don't know, any I think Bluegate, or there's all sorts of different hosting companies. I use GoDaddy, so that's the first one I know. But anyways, you would go sign up for a hosting service, which can run you maybe $9 or something like that for the year to reserve a domain name. You reserve that domain name, and typically most hosting solutions will offer you the ability to put WordPress directly onto your site. And so, in addition to getting a domain name, you're also going to need to get hosting, which hosting is basically like me telling GoDaddy, hey, I want hosting. I want, a gigabyte worth of hosting, right? Which basically means that some computer that GoDaddy owns, called a server, they're going to have a gigabyte of data allocated for me that I can upload files to that's going to run this website. So that's the difference between buying a domain and getting hosting. A domain just means you own that domain. You can't really do anything without some kind of hosting, whether you're going to host it yourself or pay the hosting provider to host a certain amount of space for you. But for instance, so if I go to GoDaddy and I get a gigabyte, I can now also have GoDaddy set up my WordPress site, which WordPress takes up space, right? Like there's files that, WordPress uses that they set up. And so it's going to move all those files to that 1 gigabyte of data that I've purchased through GoDaddy. It's going to be constantly running in the background. The server that I'm using for hosting runs all the time, 24/7. So if somebody comes on my website at 2 a.m., they're going to be able to see my website, right? Like that's what hosting is. Once you get that hosting set up, well, now you basically got a blank canvas. If you're using WordPress, it's going to be a blank WordPress canvas. And it's not set up for real estate or anything. It's just a blank canvas. They have themes that you can use with WordPress. However, if it's going to be for a real estate website, I would recommend you looking for a real estate theme. And to do that, you can go to a website here called themeforest.net. This is what I use for my real estate themes, for any really theme for websites. And you can see here, all I did is I searched for real estate theme, and there's all sorts of different themes that you can purchase. And these are one-time purchases. So you might pay $59, $49, $59. So you can see they're about $50. And you can click in and see like the differences between each one and which one looks the best for you. But you'll notice here that we've got like a lot of these are going to be just kind of the visual, so to speak, right? They don't actually have the IDX plugin built into them. Some may, I don't know, like if we look at this one here, it says this one's got IDX built into it. And typically though, if you're going to use the IDX part of a theme, or if you're just going to go out and buy a separate IDX or subscribe to different IDX, they're going to be monthly subscriptions to these IDX feeds. And so like I would imagine, this one here that actually calls out IDX, it may or may not have an IDX that you can use, but if it does, it's probably $59 plus whatever the monthly is for that IDX feed. So just realize that there's always probably going to be some kind of a monthly spend if you're using an IDX feed. But that being said, a lot of what you're going to see here, the reason why it's good to go with a real estate theme is because it's going to have out of the box kind of, it's going to be customized for you, and it's going to know what a real estate agent wants to display on their website. And so then, you're going to have that kind of built in. Let me see if I can click on just like one of these here, just to give you an idea of what it might look like. Here's a live preview. So, okay, so here's what this website would look like. Let's see, let's go to modern design or classic design. We'll go to modern design. All right, so this is what your website would look like. Looks very nice, very clean, right? You can see it's going to be set up like this. The only thing you're going to need to do in addition is provide the IDX feed, which is what all of these listings are coming from. If you don't have an IDX feed, this website is pretty much no good to you, because you wouldn't want all of this search if you don't have the ability to search for properties. But you can see, and that's what it's going to do. It's going to give you the theme is going to give you kind of this general layout. It's going to give you this menu bar that looks like this. It's going to give you this little widget here that allows for people to sign up. It's going to put the properties like this down here once it's got an IDX feed connected to it. It's going to give you a footer that looks like this down here. It's going to be responsive. That's the other thing, is the theme will set it up so that it's mostly mobile responsive, which means it's good on a phone. But yeah, you can see here, and if you look through here, it'll probably tell you, if it's got certain IDXs that it works best with, or most of them should work with any IDX feed. Yeah, it doesn't look like it tells you what IDX it prefers or uses. But either way, some may, and they might have their own IDX feed, like I mentioned before. But that is what you would do: is you would go out, you'd get your own hosting, you get your own website. Might cost you, like I say, about $10 to sign up for your domain name, maybe 10, 15, 20 bucks a month for your actual hosting. And then you'll go out, buy this for $39 or whatever theme you want to get, 39, 49, 59 bucks. And you'll actually have the framework now for a real estate website. Now, the last piece is you're going to actually need to go in and choose which IDX you want to populate this different theme. And so to do that, let me show you here. I just went on Google. I actually read through some of these and learned a couple that I didn't know about. But I would recommend, if you look at these different IDXs, these are all great IDXs to go with. I do like, personally, IDX Broker Platinum. That is what I always use. He even says here on his website, IDX Broker is the most used IDX service in the US and has been one of my go-tos for the last eight years. He calls it the granddaddy. It is a great platform. I'll show you here. This is IDX Broker right here. They've got a light service, they've got a platinum service, and they've got this new one which is called Home. I don't know. I think the difference with Home is that it actually has its own theme, so you wouldn't necessarily need to go get out and get a theme, but you're talking it's an additional $80 per month for that, which is just a bit more than what I want to spend. I'm sure it looks great. It's a little bit easier to set up probably, and you're going to get a lot more support to kind of connect the two. So if that's something you want to do, then great. You can go out and get the Home or look into it. But like I say, the one that I find is best is Platinum. You just go with the Platinum. This is going to give you the feed, and typically it's super simple. Once you actually have your WordPress hosting, there is a plugin which basically is just something you download, almost like an app on your phone. You're going to download this app, so to speak, called a plugin to WordPress, and it's going to say, it's IDX for WordPress, right? And you're going to go in there. It's going to ask you which IDX you're using. You're going to say, I'm using IDX Broker. It's going to ask you for your login, your password, maybe a couple other things to connect the two. And then once you've done that, it's connected, and it's going to start, importing all of the data from that to your website. So it makes it pretty much plug and play. So realistically, like having your own, if you come over here and you have your own home solution, I mean, it might look nice, and if you like the way that the website looks, well, then maybe it's worth it. But that's a lot more money to spend when you could really just go out, get 70 bucks a month, get your theme, connect the two, and you're away you go. But now at this point, like I say, there's a few other ones you could choose from as well. iHome Finder is another very popular one. You might want to look into that one. I think, let me check, if I'm not mistaken, I think iHome Finder is, I don't know if it's more expensive. Let's see. No, I guess I don't have it posted up here. But let me go ahead and just see if there's a iHome Finder. Yeah, pricing for it. So they've got a team and so here you go. You got $59.95 for iHome Finder plus $100 setup fee. You've got $99 a month for the premium. And then they actually have a CRM solution too, which integrates, which we're going to get into CRM here in a second and what you would do for that if you're doing this, building this out on your own. But let's look at here. The big one that I like to make sure that if you're going to go with any IDX feed, make sure it has polygon search. I think that's one of the most used features by clients on my website. They're going on there. They want to, kind of bracket where they're looking for. So make sure the IDX has that, which you can see even the iHome Finder standard has that. The only difference, it looks like this one's got a Eureka map search and market boost, which I don't know what either of those two things are. I don't know if it's worth it. You probably want to look into that to see if that's worth it for you. Otherwise, even the standard one is probably fine to just get started with. And iHome Finder is a great solution, but one of the really good ones that I want to talk about is it's kind of up and coming. It's a lot cheaper too. It's called Wovax. And this is one of the ones right here that it talks about. It uses the RETS feed that I talked about, where it's going to actually download the listings from the website or from the IDX provider, so from your MLS, typically every 5, 10, 15 minutes. So, I mean, it's doing it constantly. and then it takes that downloaded data and uploads it to your actual server, to the hosting that you're providing. So you're going to get the most amount of SEO value from this. And even says here, from an SEO perspective, this type of service is optimal. It will seem like each listing is a blog post on your website. So again, that is going to be the ideal solution if you really care about SEO and ranking organically. If you're building this out mainly just for clients and you don't plan to do a lot of lead generation, or if you're planning to just do pay-per-click all the time and you're not really necessarily worrying too much about SEO, then that may not be important to you. But just from an SEO perspective, this is an option and an ideal solution. The pricing down here isn't actually correct. I'm going to show you here that if you go over here, their IDX feed is $35 per month. Let's see where I got that here. And then they actually have a CRM system that's $9. Yeah, here you go, $35 a month. You can actually install it for free as a free trial. So again, download Wovax IDX for WordPress. You would just download that as a plugin on your WordPress site. You would integrate that plugin with whatever theme you have, and now it's going to populate all of those areas where homes would be showing up with the homes from the Wovax IDX. Now, the one thing to kind of point out is that not every MLS is RETS compatible. So you would want to check with your MLS to make sure that it is RETS compatible. You can actually see that there's another one here, Buying Buddy. This is one that uses RETS as well. And if you go to their MLS coverage map, it kind of tells you which ones they already know that are RETS compatible. So like for instance, here in Texas, I could go down to San Antonio and see, here we go, San Antonio MLS Sabor. It is RETS compatible. So that would be fine. So this is a quick and easy way. Obviously, there's probably 500-600 different MLSs, so it doesn't show every single one. But you may want to either contact Buying Buddy or contact your MLS to make sure. But that being said, I do want to kind of point out, because I didn't get into that one yet as far as different IDXs you can go with, but Buying Buddy would be another one that you may want to look at. Buying Buddy, it's similar to Wovax, where basically you have the ability to use RETS, and it does have a CRM solution built into it as well. So people are going to be able to search. You're going to be able to see what they're searching for on your website. So that's great. Now let's go ahead and as far as pricing goes for Buying Buddy, if you want to look into it, it's about $49 a month, and that's for both. That's the IDX plugin and the CRM. So both are included in there. You can go to like a 2-user setup if you're on a team. It's $77 a month plus an additional $17 a month for each additional CRM user. So that would be the pricing for Buying Buddy. So you might want to look at both of those. Now let's say that SEO is not super important. You just want like the best, cleanest website with the most options for your clients to be able to search on. Like I say, IDX Broker is one of the best. And in fact, there is something about IDX Broker that kind of, even though it's not RETS, it does make it a worthwhile option even for SEO. If you look at this, they've got what's called domain control, which it says here that you get all of the credit for the IDX listing pages that IDX Broker hosts on your behalf. You're able to register your domain, if you already have a host domain, and then you'll point all of your www or non-www versions of your domain to the IDX IP address. And that's going to basically give all of the SEO credit to your domain. So still not as good as RETS, I would say, because it's not like each one is its own blog page or blog post, but at least you're going to get credit for those listings. Whereas like I was mentioning, if I use on KV Core, if I use their plugin, it's still not pointed to my domain. So all of those listings are still not going to be giving my domain, kylehandy.com, any credit, right? So that would be the difference there. But okay, so let's go back. If you were going to use, let's say, IDX Broker Platinum, now here's the biggest thing about that is let's go IDX Broker. Well, one of the things you're going to have to realize is that there isn't a CRM system that IDX Broker Platinum is providing you. So now you're going to have a great website. It's going to be, IDX responsive. All the listings are going to be on there, but you need somewhere to send those leads, right? It's going to be IDX Broker has a great lead capture system, but it needs to know where to send those leads to, which is basically now the CRM side of it. So if you're going to use a CRM, what you're going to want to do is make sure that it hooks up to IDX Broker. And the way to do that is actually, I think it's, maybe I've already got it here. Let me do a quick search here. Let's see, IDX Broker integration. There you go. Okay, so these are the different CRM systems that you might want to consider if you were going to go with like IDX Broker. Is you can use Zapier, which is basically just something that connects two services. It's kind of a middleman that takes information from one, it sends it to another, and you can use Zapier to pretty much integrate it with any CRM. But it is nice if you can find one that's integrated directly with it, so you don't have to set up Zaps and pay for an additional service. And that's kind of a little bit beyond the scope of this video. But first off, one of the ones that it says its integration is built directly by IDX Broker is Top Producer. I've used Top Producer. It was a long time ago. I don't know how good it is still today. I hear a lot of people still using it. I'm sure it's great, but I don't use it specifically. But it says here that that is something that IDX Broker actually integrates with natively. Follow Up Boss, I do like Follow Up Boss. I will say that Follow Up Boss is a great CRM. The pricing on it has just recently gone up, so I don't know how much of a good value it is still today. But you can see here that it's now $69 per month, a bit more expensive than what it used to be. You can get the $49 a month package, but honestly, I think the $69 is what you would want. This one's one that comes with batch emailing, comes with texting, so a few additional features that you're probably going to want on versus just that smart system. If you don't think you need that, then maybe you can get by on $49. But Follow Up Boss is a great solution, and it says here that it uses email parsing, which all that means is basically whenever a lead registers using your website, using IDX Broker, it's going to send an email that's formatted in a way that Follow Up Boss understands, and it'll create that lead within Follow Up Boss. Now, the only thing about that, and I don't know because I don't use this integration, is you're going to want to make sure somehow that Follow Up Boss can also not just receive the lead, but receive the lead's data, right? Like make sure that when that person's searching on the website, you're going to be able to see what properties and all of that information they're searching for. And you can do that. Follow Up Boss has that functionality. I just don't know as far as the connection, if it does that with IDX Broker versus other ones. I would imagine if IDX Broker is listing them, even though it's listed as email parsing, it probably does that. The better one, so the best one is integration is built by the IDX Broker. Obviously, that's probably the best you can get. Next would be API integration. That just means that there's an API key that IDX Broker gives out. You plug that into your CRM system, and literally it just gives them two-way communication all the time. The email parsing, like I say, is kind of the last option there. But you can see here it does communicate with LionDesk contextually. So if you're using any of these, you might look further into that. But either way, you're just going to, again, look into whether or not these systems are compatible. And just before you go and spend money, you might want to get on the phone with them. You might want to just make sure how that functionality is going to work. Now you're probably thinking, my gosh, this is a lot of work. Why would I build my own thing? Well, the other pro that I didn't really get into is pricing, right? A lot of times you can go with a FirePoint or a KV Core or a Boomtown, but you're going to spend a lot of money. I think FirePoint runs $4.99 a month. So, and usually it's good for teams. You're going to want to have a team of 3, 4, 5 agents. KV Core is kind of the same one. Their smallest one is called the K Plus Team Platform, which I think that runs $7 something a month. And then Boomtown, Commissions Inc. Those are all $1,000 plus per month. So to get all of what I'm talking about being able to do, where you're going to get a beautiful website, mobile responsive, IDX plugin, being able to have it speak to your CRM system, be able to see what properties people are searching for, you could piece it together by building your own website for, if you're talking about, let's just say you went with IDX Broker, the price on IDX Broker was, what did I say it was? Plans and pricing, platinum, I think it was like 40 or 50 bucks, $70. There you go. So you can get the $70 plan from IDX Broker. You can get an even if you went with, let's just say, Follow Up Boss, you know, $70 there. Plus, let's just say it's $10 for hosting. It's about $150 per month. Or again, you could go with even one of the cheaper ones. You could go with like Wovax. Well, this is Buying Buddy. You can go Buying Buddy, $49 a month. Wovax, you can go for about $45 per month, $35 for the CRM, or $35 for the IDX, $9 for the CRM. I just don't know how good their CRM is, what all the options it comes with. So, but truly for a great option, you know, if you went with IDX Broker and Follow Up Boss, you're talking that's, you know, about $150 a month, and that's going to compete with a FirePoint, with a KV Core. You're going to have all of the functionality that these systems have that most people are spending $400, $500, $600 or more a month on. So that would be the other big benefit to building this out yourself. In addition to the SEO, the customizability, just takes more up on the front end to get it going. So that's kind of that. Let me see here. I just wanted to show you real quick if there was anything else. Yeah, so here you go. Here's kind of a, let me give you a quick, and this is Wovax as I was looking at them. They've got a demo on here that you can see. This is what their website looks like. Pretty basic, right? Like, I mean, that's the landing page that you get. So, I mean, again, you're getting what you pay for. You're not spending $150 a month like you would be with IDX Broker and with, you know, using Follow Up Boss CRM. But it would probably do the work, right? Like this one here, I mean, I don't know, I guess they're based out of Russia, but you click on Moscow, right? So then here you go, you've got all of these listings kind of listed like that. It works, right? Like it's fine. I don't see where they've got a like a map search, which is kind of a big negative, I would say, for Wovax. Yeah, there's not really a map search. It's just kind of like a filter system. Whereas, like I say, with IDX Broker, that's going to be, you know, the full suite of everything, right? You know, map search, all that kind of stuff. And if you're a team or an office, you can see here that they've got plans for that. The biggest difference is that, you know, if you're a team, it's going to give you kind of a roster page. It's going to give you more reporting features to be able to see like what each individual agent is doing, how many leads they're generating. It's going to give them different agent websites, so that way each agent can have their own site, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you just got to choose if you're a team or not. Then you're going to pay a little bit more. But like I say, it just depends. You're going to want to look at some of these websites, figure out like how much customizability do you want? How nice of a website do you want? How much are you willing to spend? But there's all sorts of great options out there if you go kind of buying it yourself. Like I say, the only reason why I don't currently have my own website is because I get an amazing CRM system. I do like KV Core. I like the all-in-one. I'm willing to sacrifice some of the SEO benefits for the ease of use, and because I get it, you know, included with my brokerage. I'm not paying extra. Would I go out and spend $500, $600, $700 a month for it? Probably not. But because it's included, I'm happy with it. It works for me, and that's what I choose to do. So anyways, guys, that pretty much sums it up there. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull up the chat here and see if I've missed anything from you guys. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'm pulling up Facebook here. Feel free, guys, if you haven't already, take a chance right now to give this, if you're watching on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. You know, put a comment out there if you made it all the way to this point. You watched it all the way to the very end. Like I say, I always look at my analytics. I find it funny. I think now that I don't know if it's because I made that comment a couple videos ago, but I've actually had a few more percentage points higher of people watching all the way to the very end. It was about 1%. I think the last video was like 3%. So, hey, it's moving on up of people that watch this thing all the way through. But put it in the comments if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay on this video. So let's see here. Let's check out the video on, there we go, Facebook. Hey, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. Good to see you guys. Mark, Ashley, Anthony, good to see y'all. Let's see the comments. Boomtown user. Yep. Hey, Boomtown is amazing CRM, guys. Honestly, I've used Boomtown. I paid, I think, $1,500 a month for it. It was worth it. I mean, it was, if you've got money to spend and you've got a team, I don't know that there's better CRM all-in-one solution out there than Boomtown. I even say that over Commissions Inc., over anything else that's out there, not only because it's such a great system to use, but it's just their customer service is amazing. and they've got a lot of like knowledge and educational tools that will help you be a better agent. Plus, they put on a great conference every year in South Carolina, so which is where they're at. And I love. It's probably been a few years since I went to the last Boomtown conference, but they're a lot of fun. I think Tom Ferry spoke at the one where I was at, so really good support system that they've got there. So okay, cool. Live, man, I love it. I'm trying to step up the game, Jason, as far as picture quality. Glad you like it, man. All right, cool. Well, I don't see any questions, so I guess at that point, I'm going to go ahead and call it. But guys, it is the day before New Year's. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe New Year's Eve. And man, we're going to be starting the new decade here just a couple days away. So hopefully you've got your plans and your goals set for next year and the next decade. I know kind of on like on a bigger scale, I actually pictured out what I want for the next 10 years. So for over the next decade, where I want to be. That was pretty exciting and pretty fun. I built that out and then I scaled it back, what I want to do in 5, what I want to do in 3, what I want to do in 1 year. And I would advise, if you haven't done that, it's fun to dream a little bit, right? Put some crazy stuff out there and then be realistic and figure out how you're going to get there. So anyways, guys, I hopefully will see you guys in the next one next Monday. I'll be back. And just so you know, I'm probably about halfway through my Facebook ads course that I've been building. So I've got a bunch of content I've been putting together. I think I've got probably 6 or 7 videos already created. Trying to do smaller bite-size videos, not these long 40, 45, 50-minute videos. Trying to break it down closer to like 10 to 15, 20-minute videos, different sections about Facebook ads. And it's coming along. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm going step by step, going through each different little menu item, talking about why you would do certain things in certain situations, and then actually walking you through step by step on how to do it. So keep an eye out. My goal is to have that out by January. So once I get that released, I'll let you know. That'll be literally the first course I've ever created, which is kind of fun to do that. I'm using the program called Thinkific to create it. So it's a great learning management software tool that you use to create courses like this. And it makes it very easy to follow along. So anyways, guys, I hope again that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next Monday. All right, everyone, take care.